Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the Bahrain Grand Prix, the 2025 Bahrain Grand Prix. Yes, it is 2025. Two things I need to do first of all. Should we turn some lights on? See if we actually, there we go. That's a great start. Great start to stream. How are we all doing this Saturday afternoon or morning or evening, whether you are in the world? Lovely here in the UK today. Almost ashamed to be streaming, but it's a good job. I love you all. That's all. That's all that matters. Interesting weekend ahead. And I think an exciting weekend ahead if you're a McLaren fan. They are looking very, very strong. I'll go over the times in case you're not able to read that on screen now shortly. But good afternoon to Matt, to Jack, to Pascal, to the Hatprus, to Alfie, to Affinity, to RC, who's at Heathrow apparently. Where are you going? Where are you going, RC? Tell me where you're going. I want to know. I'm desperate. Jonathan, hey Jonathan. Hey AJ, hey Michael, hey Louis or Lewis. I'll decide later what we're calling it today, mate. Good to see you all. Hey to AJ as well. Hope you've all had a good weekend thus far. Evening in the UK, so I'm a bit more awake. So I might be a bit more on form rather than, half asleep. Hopefully. Yeah, let's run through these FP3 times over from this morning or this afternoon. Oscar Piastri fastest, and not just fastest by a little bit, fastest by a lot. 1:31.646, nearly 7/10 of a second. 7/10 of a second quicker than Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc in third place, 8/10 back on the lead McLaren. George Russell 1.1 seconds off the pace in fourth, with Kimi Antonelli in fifth, 1.2 off. Pierre Gasly was 1.3 seconds off, as was Isaac Hadjar. Pierre sixth, Isaac in seventh. Max Verstappen 8th, also 1.3 off. Carlos Sainz in 9th was 1.4. Lewis Hamilton 1.4. Esteban Ocon 1.5 off in 11th place. Jack Doohan and Liam Lawson for Alpine and Racing Bulls respectively, 12th and 13th, both 1.7 seconds off. Fernando Alonso 1.9 off in 14th. Alex Albon 2.1 off in 15th. 2.6 Ollie Bearman to the fastest time in 16th. Lance Stroll 2.7. Gabriel Bortoleto 2.8. Nico Hulkenberg 2.9. And Yuki Tsunoda, itchy nose, sorry. That's me, not him. Yuki Tsunoda, 3.3 seconds off the pace, down in 20th place. I just want to clarify something with chat. You may know, do we know for sure whether or not Yuki Tsunoda ran a set of softs? Because I know that second Red Bull's a difficult car, but I'd be surprised if he's 3.3 seconds off the pace. I may have missed that. The timing tower says the last tyre he ran was hard, so I'm not sure if he ran the soft tyres. If he didn't, that explains a good chunk of that. If he did, he's in big trouble. Let's put it that way. But Oscar Piastri looking very, very strong at the moment. And that's good for me because if he gets pole today, I get a point on my predictions. And if he wins it tomorrow, I get another point, which would be a miracle. 2 points in one weekend. There you go. The Hatprust says he did, but then switched back to the hards. Then Affinity says, I don't think he did. So is it one of those where he put them on and then didn't maybe do a hot lap on the softs and came straight back in again? Perhaps one of those situations, but yeah, it's been a bit of a frustrating start to Tsunoda's weekend, but hopefully he'll come good as the weekend goes on. And just in terms of lap times as well, by the way, I know practice really difficult to read FP3 because it is completely unrepresentative conditions. It's held during the day. It's hot. It's not like, the evening now. Looking at the sky coverage, it looks quite breezy now, so maybe cooling down a little bit. We'll see what the track temperature is and the air temperature is shortly when the timing updates. But yeah, it's not great. It's not the great representative session, whereas FP2 yesterday was. But then McLaren still look very strong. So what Sky are saying in their projections is, and this is obviously fuel adjusted and engine mode potentially adjusted, they reckon that McLaren are about 0.4 of a second quicker than Red Bull, who are the second fastest. Ferrari just a little bit behind that in third place. Mercedes a bit back again in fourth place. Then it's the Racing Bulls in fifth, 0.6 off the fastest time. Really, the biggest concern there is Aston Martin down in last place, 1.3 seconds off adjusted at the fastest time. So Aston Martin maybe need to start switching focus to next year if they haven't already. So yeah, I've put a poll out for who you think will take pole position, which team. I've picked the top 4 teams in alphabetical order there: Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes and Red Bull. 71% of you say McLaren. I think 71% of you are going to be right today. I expect that to get higher as the session goes on. We'll stop it before Q3. Red Bull, Our third, 11%. Ferrari second on 14%. Mercedes on 3%. I will be very, very surprised if we see a Ferrari on pole today as well. Their pace hasn't been particularly strong. Although, again, all the caveats that come around races like Bahrain, the session was held in the daytime. Let's see what happens as things cool down and we get into the nighttime. I've got a really itchy nose. I'm so sorry. There's also a fly in here somewhere who's been driving me mad all day. So if I suddenly whack something, I'm not lashing out at the computer. It is a fly has landed on the screen, and he must die. I will have him eventually. It's as simple as that, driving me mad. Hey, Marta, hope you're well and having a good one. I wanted to see where RC was going before we... India for 2 weeks. Very nice. Going to a wedding. Enjoy, RC. I don't know what an Indian wedding would be like buffet-wise, but British buffets are pretty beige, so I hope yours is a bit more tasty than that one. Random point. AJ says, once Red Bull sack or drop Yuki, honestly, I believe they need to complete rethink about their second car. Yeah, I think I read something actually. I wasn't going to get into it today. I thought I'd save it for tomorrow, but I'll do it now since AJ sort of talking about the second car. I saw something earlier on, or was it yesterday on socials, and somebody was talking about how Red Bull just don't actually have a good driver academy, and apart from Max Verstappen, nobody's really come through that driver academy, and that's why they're struggling. And I take the point, but I look at the grid and I see drivers there like Pierre Gasly, good driver. Carlos Sainz, good driver. Alex Albon, good driver. I don't agree with that. I think they have had some very good drivers come through the ranks, but nobody is going to get close to Max Verstappen, are they? So I think maybe they meant now they don't really have a great driver academy compared to what they used to. I don't know. There's no context behind it, but I just thought it was a bit of an odd statement. I can see what people are saying. Max Verstappen is so far and away the best driver in that car. I mean, no one's getting near him, are they? But I think saying that Red Bull have never had another good driver come through is harsh and nonsense. I could think of another driver who came through the Red Bull ranks and did pretty well. Sir Sebastian something. I can't remember his last name. Sighted Canvas says, sorry, I went to the wrong live stream. I'm here now. Let's go. Who did you go see? Who are you asking questions to, Sighted Canvas? Were they good questions? Save them up for us. And the Hat Russ says, I've checked back Tsunoda on softs with 14:30 left in P3, so we did do some soft running then. So that's interesting. It's not a car issue as such, because we did 15 laps and actually some good lappage there. So yeah, just interesting. I mean, it's all about opinions, isn't it? I'm just not buying into the Red Bull are bad with drivers overall, but I appreciate that things aren't looking great at the moment. And we said it on a few weeks ago, didn't we, when Tsunoda came in to replace Lawson. What if Tsunoda fails? What do they do then? I'll tell you what they do then. Helmut Marko has suddenly started really loving Isaac Hadjar across the media and interviews, and how great he suddenly is, and he wasn't a couple of weeks ago, and now he's the wonder kid. So I suspect that's the next port of call, but not to the end of the season. AJ says, huge congratulations on 130k subs. Do we hit 130k? Oh, that's awesome. Thank you everyone for your support over the years. Lots to come this weekend, by the way, so do subscribe if you are new. While we're on that, AJ started it, it's not my fault. Lots to come. We've got a little something new for you this weekend as well. So following this stream, probably 2 or 3 hours after the stream, there'll be a short on the channel from Thomas Mayer, who is on the ground in Bahrain, who's going to do a little wrap up of the day, and he's going to do the same after the race tomorrow. So if you don't usually watch shorts, completely understand, because I don't really usually, unless it's on TikTok, but if you don't, definitely give that a watch, because Thomas is going to do a little bit of filming there, so only be a couple of minutes long, just wrapping up the day. So well worth subscribing and keeping an eye out for that one later. I've got to put the captions on it, which should be fun. And of course, I'll be live tomorrow 3:30 p.m. with the race watch along, and then Thomas will follow that with his roundup. And then Elizabeth's back on Monday. It's a right team effort these days, you know. Elizabeth's back on Monday with her video for the weekend, and then I'll be, of course, back on Thursday with the preview, and off we go again for Saudi Arabia. Yes, session starts 5 p.m. UK time, so about 16 minutes from now, so not long, on the hour, just a few minutes away. So there we go. The largest gap from pole to second so far this year has been 0.084 in Australia, including the sprint. Can you see the top two being that close again, says Fudd? I would be surprised if Max Verstappen, for example, is 1.3 seconds off the pace, and I'd be very surprised if Lando Norris finds himself nearly 7/10 behind Oscar Piastri come the checkered flag. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If a McLaren driver has to win the title, I'm right behind Piastri. But I think Norris, in quali, everything turned up, low fuel, soft tyres, representative conditions, he's right in the mix for pole. He's not going to be 7 tenths behind. If he is, I will eat these words. There we go. So, yeah. CPB says 64 wins for Max, 38 wins for Seb, 9 wins for Mark Webber, 7 for Ricciardo, and 5 for Checo. How many can Yuki get? Lol. 800, I guarantee. I think Yuki, if they can sort the second car out, I think he's got a shot at a win at a track that suits Red Bull. You know, Japan was very much, Suzuka was very much a Red Bull track. If they get the track right, everything comes together for him. Maybe, but I think he might need a bit of luck because it's tough, isn't it? Hey, Annette, hope you're well. What time is it your time, Annette? I'm rubbish with you. I thought it's about I've got 1:45 a.m. for Melbourne tomorrow. So there you go, Annette. Is that where you are, roughly? I keep forgetting. You have told me a million times where you are, and I haven't quite stalked you yet. Hey, Anushka, hope you're well. Hope for some Ferrari joy today. Hopefully. I think every single driver that has failed in the second Red Bull is good enough to be on the grid, but that car is not built to be driven by anyone but Max. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And I don't think anybody, when they're dominating, you get it, Max Verstappen. When they're struggling, you kind of need your second car up there. But if you're a team boss and you're going to back one driver and you've got Max Verstappen there, it's going to be Max Verstappen, isn't it? So you just would. So let's see what happens for Red Bull. But yeah, McLaren's day today by the look of it. And I'm calling that before quali, fully ready for a shock like we got in Suzuka. I would love that again. I blew my I tried to stay neutral moment, didn't I? Completely last week in Suzuka. If the background doesn't give it away anyway. But, you know, there you go. Yeah. Questions as always. We'll do some predictions as well before we get going. Zach Brown talking to Sky at the moment. I've got it turned down, so I can't quite hear what he's saying. I can just hear him sort of muttering away about something. Probably something to try and stir the pot, and nobody will be interested whatsoever. A lot of talk about the flexi rear wing on the McLaren. Lando Norris telling people they don't know what they're talking about, and yeah, could be the whole car flexing. Sure, the rear wing is flexing, but it's passed all the tests, so all the load tests, so it's a legal car. There you go. Simple as that. Hey from Tallahassee in Florida says Hillbilly Reefer. Thank you very much. Hope you're well. Have a good one. Go Ferrari. Yes, I like that as well. Definitely. Jithu says if I had a Max Verstappen driving for me, then screw it. I will only update one car. Can't blame he is a effing machine. Agree. But then when you haven't got a great car, you start to struggle like we're seeing here. So yeah, I just Michael Schumacher's driving for you back in the 90s and 2000s. Who are you getting behind, Michael Schumacher or Eddie Irvine? I think we know what you do, don't you? So not that I'm comparing Yuki Tsunoda to Eddie Irvine. Let's make that clear. Cash says Antonelli on pole today. Well, good to see that, wouldn't it? Actually, no, it wouldn't. It would annoy me. I'll tell you why. Stick with me, Antonelli fans. If he takes pole and wins the race this weekend, I'll be furious, because if he's done it last weekend, he would have got some records for that. Whereas if he does it this weekend, he doesn't. And it's just annoying. So anyway, he wouldn't get the youngest. So I would be very angry if Antonelli does it now. I'd be like, where were you a week ago? How dare you? Or was it China? Would it be China when he got the records, actually? I can't remember what it was. It was either the first 2 or first 3 races he could have become the youngest winner. It might have been 3. So there you go. Tony Kart races. I'm calling it Piastri getting pipped by Lando Norris. Like always, dude, is just a Coulthard Barrichello. That Piastri is very annoying how he is always just a tick slower than Lando. First of all, and I think you'd agree, Tony Kart racer, nothing wrong with being a Barrichello, cracking driver. But secondly, I don't necessarily agree. I think Piastri, as this season goes on over the course of the year, I think he can take this fight to Lando. Maybe Lando will have that little bit of an advantage, like you say, come the end of the year and just have enough to get it over the line. But I'm not going to be writing Piastri off at all just yet. He's maybe a bit biased, I don't know, but he's a good driver, and I think he can do it. He might need a bit of luck. You know, Lando's been here before. He's been in F1 a bit longer now, so maybe. But I just hope if it is going to be McLaren domination at tracks like this, and for a good chunk of the season, that we end up with Rosberg, Hamilton, Senna, Prost, Hamilton, Alonso, which I'm sure McLaren can handle. They've done it before. They usually do pretty well with that, don't they? Managing their drivers, no collisions, no tension or toxicity. They're usually pretty good with that. Hey, Red Raven, I hope you're well, mate. I don't know if you were on the stream last week. I would say thank you for your feedback on the preview shot we did a couple of weeks ago. I forgot to like it. You said about not sure we needed that. So appreciate your feedback on that, mate, as always. I just wanted to say thank you for that in case you didn't catch that last week. Always open to constructive feedback. I think that's the best kind. No point being toxic, and I always get good feedback from most of you, so there we go. I'm sure Sky News would pull out some BS statistic if Antifi won this week, like youngest curly hair driver to win while sticking his tongue out. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Crofty's good with that. He'll pull his camel stat out somehow and intertwine that. So yeah. No, it didn't come across as rude, Red Raven, at all. We appreciated it because we didn't quite pick up on the repetition. We thought that it was different enough because it was different stats. But then when we kind of put the two side by side and looked at it, we thought, actually, yeah, they are very similar. So I took those stats out for this week's preview and put them into the main preview and did it that way around. So we kept with something else for this week and next week. So appreciate the feedback as always. I think this will be a similar season to 2007 with Max in the Kimi role. It says CPB. 2007, right? Yeah, a bit of falling out maybe at McLaren. Max nicks it by a point at the end. Could do. I'm not ruling Max Verstappen out, even if McLaren have the fastest car. He's got the experience in title fights. He's taken on some pretty good drivers in his career, and even in seasons where he's had the, second, third best car in the grid, he's still won races. So consistency is key right now while they get on top of that car. Yeah. Other thing as well, in case you didn't catch the news, the talk of V10s has gone quiet now. They're going to stick with the 2026 power unit regulations probably until at least 2029 by the sounds of it. Probably going to be a 2031 change. Audi and Honda and Mercedes, I believe, were the three who rejected that. I am not surprised. It's barely worth mentioning. I think we all talked about this a few weeks ago. We knew this was coming. There was no way Audi in a million years were going to say, yeah, we've spent all this time and money developing this engine. This is why we're coming to F1. Let's go to a V10 next year. That was never going to happen. And they need a unanimous decision as well. So it was not going to happen. We knew it wasn't. But it sounds like the conversation is still on the table. Talks of KERS maybe in the future to maybe appease some of the manufacturers who want a hybrid element, which would be cool. I think driver deployed KERS in a V8 engine even would be pretty cool. We'll see, but yeah, it was never gonna happen. I'm afraid it was all. I think a bit of fan service, to be honest. I think I said it in testing. I feel like Mohammed Ben Sulayem saw the reaction that the FIA got at the F1 75 launch show, didn't like it, and so started to say things that he knew fans might want, and doing a bit of sucking up, and yeah, that's how it felt to me at the time. That opinion hasn't changed, but it is interesting that they had constructive talks, and it is interesting that everyone seems to be on the same page that they want to change some of the restrictions next year on like engine freezes and things, which I think makes sense in a new regulation era, because you've got to remember as well that go back to 2014, the one we reference all the time, Mercedes were the dominant team, but they were also the dominant power unit supplier because suddenly Williams were right up there and other teams as well. So we don't want to see that split between a group of Mercedes cars, then maybe a group of Honda cars, then a group of Audi, well, the Audi cars or whatever. We don't want to see these groups forming over the years. We want to see a competitive order and competitive. We don't want to see like a Renault, for example, getting cut adrift at the back. I know they're not in the sport, but like we've seen in the past, or let's say Red Bull, because they seem to be quite vocal about the change. I wonder why. But Red Bull and Ford build a stinker and end up being the back two teams, and they're struggling and they can't do anything to catch up because they've got an engine freeze. I think getting rid of that engine freeze for the first 2 or 3 years of the new regs makes sense to me. But a lot of things make sense to me, and then F1 goes, nah, let's do the completely nonsensical thing. So what do I know? Would be good to get some sort of old school engine back, but at the same time that's very rose tinted spectacles of me, and I do miss the noise. When you watch the old races and you've got James Allen or Murray Walker and they're doing their commentary, and then all of a sudden they get 3 lights into the countdown and then all the engines rev and you can't even hear the commentary. That's Formula One for me. But progress seemingly can't be undone, so And they want to be at the forefront of technology. They think they're road relevant. So insert John T turning up now to tell me why they're not, but they think they are. So we'll see what happens in the coming years. But yeah, sticking with what we got for with what we've got for next year, 2026 onwards. So this is the final year of these regs, and the music is kicking in, which means we are about ready to go. So now Sean is hoping that this all works. We'll soon find out. Let's get the track map up for you. As always, the live timing, that's the word I was looking for. Live timing provided by Multiviewer for F1. Links in the description. Definitely go check those guys out. We're not sponsored, but they do provide the live timing, so it's only fair to give them a shout out too. So check out links in the description. Customize your F1 viewing experience with as much or as little data as you like. I like as much as possible. A little bit trickier on the stream. I don't want another monitor. I've got 5 as it is, so I don't need another one. So a bit less data maybe, but yeah, definitely go check them out. So thank you to those as always. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Welcome, great to have you on board. We're live for race and qualifying every race weekend, and of course there's the shorts as well, the preview and everything else that goes out between races now. And just give us a like on the stream as well. Nearly 200 here, 37 likes. Please do drop a like. That helps in the algorithm, and it's completely free. I won't start charging for likes for 2 reasons. 1, that would be cruel, and 2, you can't. So no worries there. Track temperature, according to the official thing, is 31.5 degrees, 26.3 air temperature. So it's cooled down a lot. I think it was it 48 degrees track temperature yesterday? I think. So, yeah. I'm actually surprised to hear that the completely engines were not already going to get development. Seemed like a no-brainer. The completely new engines, sorry, we're not going to get development. Seemed like a no-brainer to me. Yeah, there was a lot of talk, wasn't it, about the engine freeze, and then they've sort of talking about maybe getting rid of that. It's what happened. We used to have a token system. For God's sake. Used to have a token system, didn't we, during the during the early days of the V6 turbo hybrids, and that's what sort of caught Honda out quite a bit, and they had to follow these upgrade tokens. You do so many a year, and it's such a faff. Just let them develop as much as they need to, and then once everyone seems to be, I mean, you're never going to get engine parity, but if everyone seems to be around or about the same, and they can compete with each other more competitively, then you can freeze it. I think freezing it a couple of years before another reset of regulations makes sense, but not right at the start. It never does well with me. That we want to see these cars and these engines and these gearboxes maybe sort of change and innovate over the years. We don't want them to stay the same. So yeah. A bit cooler. Yeah, let's see what happens with quality. Who have you got for pole then? 67% reckon McLaren. I'm surprised that's come down. Actually, that'll go higher. 15% still think Ferrari are in the mix. 13 Red Bull. 5 Mercedes. With respect to Yuki Tsunoda, I feel like I could have just put Verstappen there rather than Red Bull. Because, look, if Yuki gets pole today, I'll go mad. We'll all go mad. So I'm gonna go... I'll stick with prediction for Thursday. Nothing I've seen now makes me think that it's not possible. So my prediction on Thursday, Piastri pole. That's what I'll go with. I'm going to keep an eye on the Sky qualifying simulation prediction as well, or forecast, just to see how far they were off come the end of the session. If they're sort of 0.390 to 0.4 between the top 2 teams, McLaren and Red Bull, then Sky are geniuses. If not, then we can have a laugh. Why not? Michael says win looks like it'll be a problem. Yeah, I know the feeling. I know what you mean. It's northeast, 13 kilometers an hour. I think we worked out in testing northeast would be, so north would be down the start finish straight. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. I think that's what Stuart worked out in testing, so you can work it out from there where it's blowing. But we'll see the flags, I'm sure. I'll put some sound so I can hear it. As always, if you do hear Crofty coming through the headphones, which you will do if I have it at that volume, let me know and I'll turn it down a bit because I don't want to get done for copyright. Because, yeah. I love Yuki, man, but I'm so worried for him this season, says Hanny. Japan was understandable with his struggles, but I don't know. Yeah, Japan was first weekend, wasn't it? So sort of expected him to struggle a little bit, but I don't think he did too bad in Japan, all things considered. The lack of running in that second session with all the fires and things. There were a lot of mitigating circumstances there, whereas this weekend, a bit smoother. Although only one practice session really that's representative, so maybe not. I'm not picking my nose. I've got such an itch right at the end of my nose today. I think it's because we're coming to that time of year now where my hay fever allergy is going to kick in, which means, yeah, I've said it before. I basically spend all winter with a cold and then all summer with hay fever. So it's great. Pit exit is open. We are Go for Quali 1. Lance Stroll, first driver out on track. As always, I'll keep you updated throughout this as best I can, but I'm not going to sit here and commentate too much. We'll chat. Best way to describe them, as always, is like being down the pub with your mates or in the living room with your mates talking about F1, and we'll watch it, and I'll keep you updated as best I can. But we've got the timing, we've got the driver tracker, and I'll take lots of questions as well, and we'll have a bit of fun this afternoon, hopefully, and just nice and relaxed. It's quite warm in here today because the PC's blowing on my feet as well, so I don't know what the temperature actually is in the UK. It's probably like 3 degrees and I'm moaning that it's hot, but I don't do well in the heat. Bahrain, it just comes alive under the lights, doesn't it? It just that 2014, it was always fine as a track. It wasn't one of my favorites, and then it just became a night race. Cooler temperatures probably playing a part in that, and it just came alive as a race, and we had that was it duel in the desert between the two Mercedes, ridiculous pace, unbelievable scrapping, great stuff, no one giving an inch. That was good stuff. So, oh yes, best lap. Sorry, thank you very much to Fabian this time. There's always somebody has to remind me of this, so I appreciate Fabian this week. Fabian gets a shout out. You'll want best lap now and last lap tomorrow, don't you? So let's have a look. So, has that worked? There we go. Thank you, Fabian, again. Appreciate that one, mate. Appreciate that. Always forget something, and hopefully tomorrow I'll remember to update the overlay to race watch along rather than quali and not realise until 2 hours into the stream. Alonso's wheel is attached. That's a good sign, says Sighted Canvas. Yep, absolutely. That was a weird one yesterday, wasn't it? Did we find out what that was? Can't remember. You should have a 6-point seatbelt on that chair, says Kevin. Probably. But given the discomfort that Isaac Hadjar went through last week, I think I'd try and avoid that one for sure. So we're going to see who's going to be first to lap. I think it'll be Lance Stroll, won't it? Who's coming through now to turn 1 to start his first flying lap. So obviously he's going to start setting the timing screens alight. It's all going to go purple. A reminder, if you're new to F1, purple means fastest, and green is personal best, and yellow is not improving. So there we go. Hadjar's seats attached. Alonso's got his steering wheel. We're ready to go for quali. we are well underway. Everything's working well as long as everyone's got their shoes on and that. And I just got, for some reason that just came in my head. I was before the stream, I sat and watched the first part of Bahrain 2020 and the Grosjean crash and that, and forgot how intense the moment that was. I mean, more intense for poor Romain Grosjean than anybody else, I'm sure, but quite an intense moment, and watching that and seeing sort of the driver reactions and the crews and commentary not knowing what to do, and you know, how's he got out of that alive and all that. It was quite, I obviously know it well, but sort of forgot how intense that was. So I did. I watched it for some reason. I do that sometimes. I just go back and watch a moment from F1. I don't know why. Intense is selling it short. Yeah, if you've not seen it, it's whatever. It can't be that important. Go watch it. But just a warning, it's a bit intense. I'm going to keep selling it short, Red Raven. There you go. Here we go then. Lance Stroll will be first across the line. 33.575 for him. Obviously on the soft tyre, as you'd expect in qualifying. Fernando Alonso is not going to be next to be Nico Hulkenberg on a 32.8. 7 tenths, only 8 tenths quicker than Lance Stroll. Ollie Bearman starting a lap as well. And Alonso moves up into second place on the timing tower. That's interesting. There we go. Fastest to 132.362. Alonso moved up before he even finished the lap. That's how good his lap was compared to his teammates there. Has Lance Stroll's been deleted? Yes, it has. Track limits at turn 13, lap 3, 33.575. So that's why he moved up the tower. Lap time deleted there for Lance Stroll. A literal pants on fire moment. Literally everything on fire, wasn't it? Yeah. His story is just as chilling, actually. He's telling the story. We'll not go into it. It's quite depressing and quite sad, actually, but and scary. But yeah, I I mean, they knew it'd be faster either way. So ST, hey ST, yeah, that's true. They knew they were going to be quick or whatever, didn't they? So might as well just put him ahead of Stroll on the tower. Although I think, you know, bit of a disappointing weekend last weekend for Stroll, but not been horrifically bad so far this season. Beaten Alonso a couple of times, hasn't he, as well this year? So good start to the season. But I don't think Aston are where they need to be, want to be, or yeah, I don't know how to end that sentence. They've just been a bit cack, to be honest. It's probably the only way to put it. Verstappen moves up to third on the tower as he starts his flying lap. Hey, Max. Hope you are well, mate. Having a good one. Tsunoda fifth. He's starting a lap now. So we're going to see what the Red Bulls have got. See, I'll try and compare these as they go. Max Verstappen there, third at the moment, but not set a time. 29.3 to beat in the first sector for him. That flies on my elbow. I'm not going to get to it. That's so annoying. Oh, I will kill it. I'll get it right at the end of the stream and we'll just cheer, and that'll be the end of that. 700 up on Alonso in the first sector. Respect to Alonso, but you'd kind of expect that in that Red Bull for Max Verstappen. You would think as well Tsunoda will be quicker. He's not. He's down, actually. 200s down on Fernando Alonso in that first sector. So, yeah, frustrating there for Yuki, but they are all on the soft tyres. Nobody on used softs either. They are all brand new softs. You'll notice on the timing tower, if they've got a line through them, that means used tyres. So, everyone on the new ones at the moment. Russell, Antonelli, next out on track. Still wait for Ocon, who was just getting in the car a moment ago on Sky. So I assume he's a little bit behind the time here for one reason or another. We'll find out why, hopefully. Yeah, just up a little bit in the middle sector there, Verstappen, but not a purple middle sector. That is currently with Fernando Alonso, who is purple in the middle and purple in the final sector. I say that Yuki Tsunoda now goes purple in the middle sector. Lock up for Max Verstappen in the final corner. He goes wide. That's the end of that lap. Otherwise, the lap time deleted. So he'll come in the pits. That lap will not count for Max Verstappen. But Yuki has gone purple in the middle sector. So let's see what he does overall. Here he comes. Yuki Tsunoda goes fastest on a 32.096. So, yeah, ahead of Alonso. You'd expect that, though, wouldn't you? I think. You'd think that. Gasly goes second. A tenth off Tsunoda's time there. Back in the pits comes Verstappen. That lock up on, I assume, the right front going to the corner. Jack Doohan's just gone fastest on a 1:31.9. So that's not get too excited about Yuki's time there. Verstappen, then what's he done it with the right front, I'd imagine? I think. Was it the left? Is there something really wrong with the car? No, this is left front lock up and then a right front just for good measure at the end. As he says something wrong with the car. So he's come in. Fan in the grandstand there, gutted. I know someone on Discord has bought, I think it's Christina's bought some Red Bull merch, but I really hate that Red Bull merch. I think it's awful this year. Leclerc, half a second up on doing in the first sector. So Yuki, that lap time wasn't great as Sainz goes third. Tsunoda's time was deleted at turn 15. I think that was an in-lap time deleted there. Verstappen, as we know from turn 15. No, Tsunoda's was. It was a proper lap time. He's down to 15th then. 17th, sorry, for turn 15. So he must have gone wide as well there, which we didn't catch on the live thing. So both Red Bulls having lap times deleted. Bad start for them. Let's see what Hamilton's going to do, and Leclerc as well. So Hamilton over the line, doing a 31.9. Hamilton a 31.962. Unless he stuffs it here, Leclerc is going to go fastest. Tsunoda still has the purple middle sector, but Leclerc is going to go quickest here unless he makes a mistake. Purple first sector, quick in the middle sector, around the final corner. Verstappen and Tsunoda both in the pits now, so they're going to have to go again, obviously. 1:31.4 for Leclerc, so half a second nearly quicker than Doohan, and obviously they then delete lap times for turn 15, don't they, for the next lap, so that's why the timing towers go a bit mad my side with the race control messages. So there we go. It's a bit of understeer at turn 15, says Fud. Was that Yuki in the final corner? The understeer. Piastri at 1:31.392 goes fastest for now. Norris has gone purple in the middle sector though. See what he can do over the line. 31.3 to beat. Does a 1:31.1. There you go. CPB says, I keep having this nagging feeling that Red Bull are going to be diabolically bad next year. Yes. And I keep having this nagging feeling, CPB, that Max Verstappen will be in a Mercedes next year or an Aston Martin. If he gets a whiff of that engine being bad, he will go. No doubt. He's not going to want to go trundling around in the midfield or at the back. So I'm pretty... Unless they build a rocket ship, I think, he'll know from simulator work and things where they're at and from what the talk is around the factory, as Alonso goes into 5th place on his second flying lap for Alonso. Good time that actually for Alonso, 1:31.9. I mean, it is 8/10 off the fastest time, but not bad given that Sky estimate that Aston are 1.3 off the fastest time today, so not bad at all. Tony says Max will be following Honda. I think it depends on... That all depends on Alonso. If we get an announcement in July that Alonso's retiring at the end of this year, and is it going to take up that option for another year, Max will go to Aston. If Alonso stays, I think Max will go to Mercedes. Probably in place of Russell, with Russell going maybe even the other way to Red Bull. We'll see. Not that George Russell's done anything wrong at Mercedes, by the way. Praise 2 streams in a row. My God. But yeah, no, he's done nothing wrong at Mercedes. Just I think if Verstappen's there to be signed, Toto Wolff is going to want to write that. And I think Antonelli is where they're kind of putting their future, aren't they? So we'll see. We'll see. Bit early for silly season chat, but just thought I'd mention that with CPB, bringing that one up. What's happening? So we got at the bottom 5 then. Stroll, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Verstappen and Tsunoda. Hadjar has pretty solidly been... or has been pretty solid this weekend so far, hasn't he? So hoping he does a cracking job. Currently fastest of all the Red Bull drivers is Liam Lawson, but Max Verstappen's lap time was deleted, as was Yuki Tsunoda, so we'll see if that changes. You think it would. In the next 6 minutes or so. We've got 6 minutes and 15 seconds left. Max says the best thing Bahrain ever did was make it a night race. Took it to a whole new level for me. Cars always look absolutely epic around here. Yeah, the sparks are great as well, aren't they? We love that one. Red Raven says, here's my take. If Red Bull can't turn it around, Max will take a sabbatical to join WEC or another endurance series. Maybe. He's talked about not sticking around forever, hasn't he? So, yeah. Tony says, stop riding the Kimi hype train, please. Thank you. I'm not riding the Kimi hype train. If that came across, then I apologise, but I'm certainly not riding the Kimi hype train. I'm just quite simply saying that is where Mercedes are backing because he's their junior. So, although Russell is their junior as well, but yeah, and again, Russell's done nothing wrong in that car. I still think a few people say I was giving him false praise last week, but that was BS. I wasn't at all. I was giving him some praise for the first time ever on this channel. So I think he did. I don't think we're talking enough about George Russell, frankly, and how good he's been. But Antonelli also doing a good job in that car. Long old way to go in his career, though. He's still like, what, 9? So plenty of years left for Antonelli to come good or improve, and I'm sure he will, but I'm not on any hype train. That's not me at all anyway. So, and I know it's not your first time here, Tony, as well. You've been around a while, so you know I'm not that kind of person. So I have my biases, but not to that point over Antonelli, who's been in the sport for like, I was going to say 7 minutes, but I could literally say 3 race weekends. This is 4th one, so I don't know why I was going to go with an exaggeration, but there we go. Doom v Gasly track dominance. We're going to get a graphic here, hopefully better than the Red Bull versus Racing Bulls one last week, which was just blue and blue. Yeah, doing pretty good down the straights. Good through that. I tell you what, actually doing very good through the back end of that middle sector, 10 through to the run to the final corner. So that's where he's picking up his pace. Stoffel Van Dorn is not overrated, ST. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. We're not having it. All right? He's not overrated. He's not very good. He's not overrated. If anything, he was underrated. Is that Ayumawasa in the garage? It is indeed. Was out in FP1 yesterday. Oh, who's out there? I think we're getting a queue at the end of the pit lane now. In fact, yeah, pretty much everyone in that queue now who isn't on track. So we're going to start to get a bit of chaos now in the last sort of 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Indy 500 winner, King Marcus ST. I still can't believe he did it. Nearly did it 2 years on the bouts as well, didn't he? Did Marcus Ericsson. Unbelievably. So, yeah. Carlos Sainz coming round the final corner. 11th at the moment. He's a driver I'd like to see do well this weekend, actually, to be honest with you. He could do with a really good weekend. I just a bit underwhelmed by Sainz so far this year. We are only at the 4th race weekend, of course. It's a new team and it takes time, but I did say over the winter that it's not the slam dunk everyone was telling me. Everyone was telling me that Carlos Sainz will get in that car and destroy Alex Albon, and he hasn't yet. So he may welcome the end of the season, but yeah. I just not surprised, but still underwhelmed somehow. I don't know. I think everyone bigged him up to me over the winter, and then I was like, oh, maybe, but no. Ollie Bearman, 15th at the moment, just above the drop zone, on the bubble. As we come into the last 2.5 minutes of Q1. 2 more sessions to go, obviously, to set the grid for tomorrow's race, which should be pretty good. You can overtake here, although not easy. Although the F2, if you saw the F2 before the quali, my God, 3 wide. 3 wide up at what, turn 13? What was that about? How that wasn't a huge crash, I don't know. That was incredible. Ollie Goethe, I think, was around the outside of 2 other cars. Just wow, what a move that was. Bit of contact, but nothing too dramatic in the end. See some of that tomorrow in F1, please. As Bearman does improve in the first sector, but is down overall, which isn't a massive shock. You'd expect that has to be slower than a McLaren, but still up on his, still improving. So I'm looking at Bortoleto, so still improving on his best time. So this could be good for Bearman. Question mark over Haas this weekend. I've not really read where they've been. They've not been bad, but they've not really been epic, and they just have this habit, as we saw with Ocon a few weeks ago, of pulling out a lap or putting in a great performance in the races. Bearman goes 1 second down on Norris and is not improving all of a sudden. So maybe... Is he improving? No, he's not, is he? No, that's a slower middle sector. Bortoleto 3/10 up on his best on Bearman's time to get through. So Bortoleto looking good here. Stroll as well, actually improving. So look, so Bearman goes 13th on a 1:32.3. That is not going to be safe because Bortoleto is on a really, really strong lap here, if he can put it all together. Does indeed, goes 12th place. Not bad at all there for Bortoleto. Can he hang on to it? Hulkenberg up in 10th, by the way. Where's Pascal? Yeah. Hadjar over the line, goes up into 5th place. That's a cracking lap from Isaac Hadjar, 1:31.591. Verstappen's lap time has been deleted for the next lap. That was just now? This isn't going to count for Max Verstappen, is it? If you've got multi-view, it says here, car 1 Verstappen time deleted, track limits at turn 15 next lap. So I don't know if this is going to count. I might be wrong. That might be an old message that's only just popped up, but it says 17-17 as Doohan goes 3rd. Jack Doohan goes 3rd. All right. There's the checkered flag. I'll see if this counts for Verstappen. Lawson goes 14th. Stroll, Bearman, Albon, Verstappen and Tsunoda still in the bottom 5. Lawson was the first car to take the flag as things stand. Could be the previous lap. Yeah, I'm just wondering why that message has come through now. Hamilton goes 2nd. Still not used to seeing him in red, weirdly. On a 1:31.2. A 10th off Norris. So maybe Ferrari just... Well, Doohan isn't in this for pole, is he? So, used tyres on the McLarens, by the way, I should say, whether they're still out there or no. So, I'll just see. I assume it is counting, because otherwise this timing tile wouldn't be lighting up. So, it must be an old message. So, ignore me on that one. I'm just relaying the information that's here. Max Verstappen, then, over the line, goes up into 3rd place on a 1:31.303. So, it must be counting, because that wouldn't have gone up there, would it? So, yeah, that's an old message then that's come through late. Fair dues. Here comes Yuki Tsunoda. He needs this one, 32.1 to get through. He does get through, Yuki Tsunoda, into 11th place. There we go. That's all right for Yuki, who now drops to... Russell goes 9th. What's Alex Albon going to do? Across the line. Goes 14th. This needs to count for Ocon as well. No, Ocon should be okay there, as Alonso goes up to 12th place. So at the moment, Ocon improves to 12th. We've lost Nico Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Gabriel, Bortoleto. No, we haven't. Hulkenberg snuck through. Hulkenberg snuck through there right at the death. Nico Hulkenberg into 15th. So we've lost Alex Albon in 16th. Liam Lawson in 17th, Bortoleto 18th, Stroll 19th, and Ollie Bearman in 20th place. Carlos Sainz said he needed a bit of a boost, and that'll do him. Getting through into Q2 and out-qualifying his teammate is 11th. So Max Verstappen's lap did count. So it's just because it came through, it must have been the lap before. So there we go. That's fine. Nothing to worry about in the end. So Max... 2/10 off the fastest time in third place. Norris fastest, 1:31.1. Hamilton is second place, a 10th off as well. Piastri nearly 3/10 back in fourth place. Jack doing great lap. Only Q1, of course, but still a great lap there. 3/10 off the best time in fifth. Antonelli 6th. Leclerc 7th. Gazzy in 8th. 9th for Russell. 10th for Hadjar. 11th for Sainz. They both set, by the way, exactly the same time. 1:31.591. 3 thousandths further back was Ocon. Half a second covering the top 13, by the way. Ocon 12th, nearly 5/10 off. Alonso just over 5/10 off. Tsunoda 14th, Hulkenberg 15th, and it's Albon, Lawson, Bortoleto, Stroll, and Bearman out of the session. So standout performers there. Jack Doohan. I give Carlos Sainz a nod as well. And Nico Hulkenberg sneaking through to Q2. So good stuff from Hulkenberg there. But yeah, good start. We've still got 2 more to go. Q2 and Q3 to set pole position, obviously. Everyone getting back to the pit lane. And there's a yellow flag at turn 4. I assume that's just a bit of sweepage going up. There you go. So good stuff from doing there. And I think as well, good from... F1 TV coverage also getting a Verstappen message then, says a hat pro. So it must have just been a... Well, it was an old message, wasn't it? But it came through at like the most inconvenient time. Keeping an eye on things, and then suddenly see lap time deleted. You're like, oh my god, he's going to be last. But no, all good. He's third, unless something happens in the meantime. But just why the confusion there? At tracks like Bahrain, I think Austria's the same as well, and there might be some others. When you come off the final corner, if you go wide over track limits, the next lap is deleted as well as the lap that you're on, because they see that as gaining an advantage out the final corner. So that's why the confusion was. I'll read the message again just to make sure you know. Car 1, Verstappen, time deleted, track limits at turn 15, next lap. That came through at 17:17, just as he was about halfway around his lap. So I got a bit ahead of myself, but all good. He is through. They are investigating a number of drivers, Stroll, Piastri, Bortoleto, Hadjar, for failing to follow race direction instructions for the maximum delta time. We know that's not going to come to anything because we see that every single week at the end of every single session. Speaking of doing, Briatore was it's not you, it's me. We're breaking up. Was pleasantly quiet lately, so immediate replacement seems unlikely, question mark. You never know with Flav, do you? That's the trouble. You never know. He might go quiet, and you think, okay, maybe he's not thinking about a switch, and then Miami is gone. I think Miami and Monaco were the two that I kind of singled out as races where he might lose that seat. Thinking about it, as I said that though, why you wouldn't throw a new driver into that car at Monaco, because that would be absolutely ridiculous. But I think Doohan's doing enough to hang on to that seat for now. Is he blowing me away? No. Is he blowing Flav away? I mean, it'd be one way to keep the seat, wouldn't it? But no, he's absolutely not. That was completely inappropriate, and I apologise immediately. But no, he's doing all right, Doohan. But we'll see how he goes as the season goes on. Lawson team radio there. A problem with DRS apparently, which would explain some of that lap time that he's not picked up there, down in 17th place. So there may have been a DRS issue for Doohan. I'm just checking. Yeah, nothing at the moment. No. I'll keep an eye on that and see if we do get anything. But yeah, apparently possibly a DRS issue for Lawson there, so that might explain that one. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You're right. You're right, Fud. Yeah, sorry. The max deleted lap time was the one he locked up on. The message is showing 10 minutes. I didn't read the time. Yeah, 10:27.997. Yeah. You're right. Yes, it's just is it a repeat message? It's a different message, but yeah, no, it's the one he locked up on then, obviously. But there you go. It's all good. We're sorted now. We know Max is through. It just caught everyone off guard. The flies on the stream deck, and I can't imagine if I whacked that in the stream. Some will say thank God, but yeah, bloody flies. We go for Q2. There'll be a little pause here now, and we'll see what happens next. I'm just trying to think of something I could say that's not a prediction, but I can't. I was going to come with it was going to be something really great. I promise you. I promise you it's going to be good. I promise. Maybe. So it's Fernando on his wheel, Hadjar with his seat, and Lawson with his DRS. Yeah, lots of problems this weekend, sighted canvas. Lots of problems. Hadjar seems happier in his car, though, so that's good. Good lap as well from Hadjar to get through late on there in 10th place. Pleased to see Hulkenberg up there, so I'm sure... I say up there. He's 15th, but I'm sure that's up there for Pascal. He'll be happy with that one. I'm sure. Ocon 12th. We did get a Haas through in the end. Bearman's a surprise down there in 20th. Thought he'd been a bit more on the pace this weekend than that, but we'll keep a listen, see what's going on. We might get some team radio. Tsunoda's going out on track. In fact, Tsunoda's first on track, followed by Hulkenberg. And then we're going to get Ocon, who's going to go first on the time. I don't know how they work that out. Maybe fast time for last session. Antonelli goes P1 for now as he hits the track. And then Russell goes out on track. They're all queuing. It's a shame they didn't have a couple of minutes where they could have come out there before everyone else did. But there you go. That's F1 things. Matt says how Stroll hasn't been dropped is beyond me. And then I didn't say anything. But he's already got there himself. Yeah, his dad. Yes, that's why Stroll hasn't. Although I maybe this needs to be a video at some point, but I think there comes a point where, and yeah, I'm not one of those who just tears Stroll apart every opportunity. You know, he's yeah, his dad owns the team, but he had a good junior career. Did all right. When he joined Williams, got a podium in his first season. Yes, it's all right, the chaos, but still did it. You know, he's not the worst thing we've ever seen in F1. So I will never agree with anyone that says that. But if you want to be a serious team going for world championships, there comes a point where you've got to want to get a second driver in that car who can deliver for you. Because I'm not. By the way, as well, I've said this so many times before. So if you're new, it's new for you. If you've heard it before, I'm sorry, but I'm never going to slate Lawrence Stroll for buying a team for his son. A lot of people would do the same for their kids. They do anything for their kids. So I'm not going to slate him for that. But I do feel like, you know, if let's say you put a Verstappen in that car, or a Leclerc, or I don't know, a Norris, whoever, you need somebody in there alongside him, and you want to go for a championship, you're going to have to get somebody in there who can perform. And I think Lance is just very inconsistent. Even his good days aren't epic, are they? So he's one of those I'd love to prove people wrong, but it just doesn't seem to be clicking. But then at the same time, the car isn't exactly epic this year, is it, either? So yeah. He's not crap, he's just mediocre. He'll never be a top 5 driver, says Louis. Yeah, he's fine. It's probably how I put it. Which I also appreciate is how I generally describe sprints, you know, as fine. So there you go. Lance Stroll is the sprints of drivers. We've got a yellow flag out there, by the way. It looks like Esteban Ocon. Has he stopped on track? Is he moving? I'm guessing a spin is going to be my guess. It might be more than a spin. It's a crash. That is going to be a red flag. Bosch. What is this? That's a big shunt as well, actually, for Ocon. Bigger than I realised. That's... It's definitely red. It's not updated on the TV for some reason, but it is a red flag. He's smashed at the back of that car. So I'm going to guess he's gone in lost it at 1 or 2, dropped it, bang, straight into the wall on the exit. So that's a big shunt for Ocon. Oh, why does this fly keep landing on things I can't punch? Land on my forehead in a minute. I'll knock myself out. There you go. Let's see what happens there. That's my guess there. Medical car has arrived. It's a hefty shunt. His story says, if my dad bought me a team, I would have been in hospital for a few years now. Stroll isn't great, but he's better than the sergeants of this world. Do you know, it's true, actually, yeah. I often say, if my dad, if he could, he'd buy me a Formula One team. I wouldn't fit in a car, let alone be able to drive it. So he could buy me all the Formula One teams he wants. It's pointless, isn't it? But let's see what he does then, Esteban Ocon, into turn 1. Not bad turn 1. I think exit of 2. Oh, loses it on the curb. I mean, he has a bit of a moment on the exit of 2 and then sort of loses it over the curb just for good measure, and round he goes. And that's a mess. How big's the shunt? I mean, you're going to feel it. Yeah. A lot of damage to that car. Here comes the usual speculation after a crash. Possibly a gearbox there, which won't be a penalty, of course. It's unlimited gearboxes these days. They might need to check the power unit because he's gone in backwards, so that'll be interesting. But a repair job nevertheless for Haas. Shame for Ocon that. So we have a red flag. Yes, if he's just tuning in, Esteban Ocon, bit of a twitch through turn 2, over the curb, maybe a lack of grip. We've had that this weekend a lot, haven't we? Unstable on the car, I don't know, but he's gone into the wall backwards on the exit, and that's his session over. Red Raver says, well, that has happened. Very good. Very good. I like that. Yuki was doing okay, says Annette, before the red flag. 29-2 in the first sector. Yeah, purple. Yeah, purple first sector. He wasn't, which I'm going to make the point now, Annette, sorry. He was the first one to go out, though, so that's why he's purple. But I mean, 29-2 is still okay in the first sector, so yeah. In fact, Norris's best 29-1 last session, Piastri 29-2. So yeah, no, it was good. He was the first one, that's why it's purple. But to be fair, it was competitive. Russell 29-2, 29-2 for Tsunoda, 29-1 for Norris in the last session, 9-1 for Verstappen. Yes, it was good. It was good. I've not died. I'm listening to Alex Albon, see if he's got anything he's saying. But I probably should say before I do that, I'm just listening to Alex Albon rather than just sitting here gormlessly. It's very me though. Sitting in the pit lane for a long time with the blankets off, so tyre warm-up issues maybe. Obviously they're waiting at the pit exit in that queue, aren't they? So that's probably cost me some time there. How hard? Sorry, that wall looked proper stuffed. How hard did he hit it? Not as hard as I thought he had at the first. When you first sort of saw the car, I thought, "Oh, that's a big shunt." And I mean, it's big enough to do that damage, but not as hard as I thought. To be fair, so it's still hefty enough. But yeah, I try to think of something we could compare it to. Not as hard as Grosjean hit the other wall on the other side a few years ago. Somewhere in the middle, somewhere in there. They've cleared the car away. I mean, hopefully they'll stay on board with this then. Let's watch it again. Into 1. He's fine through there. And then into 2. It's to get a little wobble and then over the curb, and that all continues, and then boof. Yeah. Sighted Gabba says it won't buff out for sure, so pretty hard. Yeah. Also, since you were asking what Bosch means, it's a Bosch. That's a German engineering tech company. You're welcome. I'll get a drink. Be right back. Yeah, no, I know what it means. It reminds me of what's he called? Is it Big Plane TV or something like that? I was going to say catapulted to fame. That might be exaggerating it a bit, but he was all over the news. I think in a lot of countries because he was watching the wind as planes tried to land at a British airport, possibly Heathrow, possibly Gatwick, I'm not sure. And they landed, he was going bosh. That's what it reminded me of, so yeah. Tony says, surely you could show us clips that wouldn't infringe on copyrights. It would absolutely infringe on copyrights, mate, I'm afraid. If I could show you clips, I would. But no, it does infringe on copyright. There's a list of media guidelines I was sent yesterday by the team. And for what Thomas can do in the pit, sort of recording in the paddock, and it is so tight, it is unbelievable how stringent they are. Well, I say unbelievable. It costs people a lot of money to buy these rights, so I suppose not unbelievable, but it is really quite a... Hulkenberg had a bit of a wobble on 2 and 3 as well there, so he kept it together though. But yeah, no, they are really tight with it, so no, clips. I can't even play the car audio, unfortunately. Otherwise I would do all the track audio. I can't, nothing. Team radio or anything. They are really tight with it, so... But I guess, like I say, people spend a lot of money on it. So if we get the money together for rights, we'll go for it. But I don't think that's going to happen. We are basically going green. The track is clear, so I'll put the green flag on. We are clear. The clock hasn't started yet. In Poland, we say bosh when something doesn't go away, kind of like shit. At least in my family, it says Anushka. I like that. I prefer that, actually, to be honest. Bosh is something I do when I've generally succeeded in something. Usually when I hit export on a video, I'll go bosh. So, funny how that works out. It's negative for Anushka, it's positive for sure. So let's not try and get that one mixed up. Any second now, they are cute at the end of the pit lane. So, Craig says you could thank Bernie for that. But I tell you what as well, though, Craig. Bernie used to be a lot tighter. Back in day, practice was never really broadcast. You didn't see much from it. You weren't allowed. Teams were restricted on even putting photos out during testing. That's how tight Bernie was with it. So at least Liberty Media have opened things up a bit. I'd still like them to be a bit more open, but I also appreciate they've got to protect their broadcast partners, and hundreds of millions of dollars are paid for these rights. So some knobhead like me coming along and stealing them, I can sort of understand why they'd want to protect them. But we are go again in Q2 for hopefully a few more laps this time. Antonelli first out this time with Russell just behind. So we've got 10.5 minutes to go. Yuki Tsunoda still sat in his garage at the moment. We have just had a red flag if you're just tuning in. Esteban Ocon crashing on the exit of turn 3. Or turn 2, entry to turn 3, exit to turn 2, I suppose. Alfie says, I remember Kerry Godliman saying Bosch on Taskmaster, and that's what I hear. Kerry Godliman's great. Love Kerry Godliman. We've got some cracking comedians here in the UK. Some are terrible, some are pretty good. I do like Kerry Godliman. And I can't remember her name. It's gone. It'll turn up in a minute. It will turn up, I promise. If I were Yuki, I'd be out there as much as possible, says Kevin. Yeah. At the minute, though, he's sat in a garage because there was a queue, so he's just sat in a queue, isn't he? So I suppose keep him in a garage, keep the heat in the tyres for as long as possible, give him the best chance possible going out there, maybe. Not a bad idea. CPB says Ross Brawn and Nick Fry's Uno reverse card on Bernie Ecclestone. The Brawn documentary was hilarious. Yes, I did enjoy that. I like stuff like that. That's a good shout. Yeah. Here we go then. Kimi Antonelli over the line to start his flying lap, his first flying lap of this session. On his way down to turn 1, DRS is open for him, so no issues there. Look good through turn 1, I think. All right, through 2 and 3 as well, so he's not had the same issue as Hulkenberg, and obviously to a larger extent Ocon had. Looking good through turn 4 as well. Is he too wide? We've got a pit lane incident involving Russell and Antonelli. Leaving garage before the resumption time was announced. That's one I've not seen before. So, obviously, they were too keen to get to the end of the pit lane there. I'm not defending them, but at the same time, I got a thingy saying DRS enabled and track clear. So maybe they just assumed that was the call. But no, if the resumption time hasn't come out, then yeah, there might be in a bit of bother there. I assume a team fine and reprimand maybe. But yeah, I'd be surprised if that's a sporting penalty. Although, I mean, you get an advantage by being on track first, but also you're disadvantaged by sitting there for so long with cold tyres, aren't you? So we'll see what comes of that. Maybe nothing, maybe something. Anthony 108.497 in the middle, which translates to a 39.353. The 109 was overall. Passes Charles Leclerc on the run to the final corner. Through he comes. Russell purple in the first sector. Antonelli obviously purple in the middle sector. He's first one to get there. Kept it there as Russell went through. So good middle sector from Antonelli. Over the line, 131.178 with coming up to 7 minutes to go. What is George Russell going to do? Got a little bit of a tow here from an Alpine, actually, which might help him a little bit. Not enough, though. 131.407. Just over 0.2 off his teammate there. Everybody except Piastri and Tsunoda on used tyres, but they'll be the used tyres that they used before the red flag came out, so there won't be much on them, but they'll I assume they'll go again with another set of fresh softs. But Sainz goes second, 31.332. This is nice and mixed up at the moment, but I imagine the oh dear, what happened there on TV? Just the halo graphic and no car. Weird, but or no picture at all, just the halo graphic. I imagine, yeah, I was going to say, I imagine the McLarens will be there pretty soon as well. But nice and mixed up there. Antonelli, Sainz, Russell, Gasly, Hulkenberg, top 5. But here they come. Here comes Lando Norris, 130.5, 6 tenths quicker than Antonelli. This is what we thought was going to happen. And Verstappen pits, abandons his laps, and not happy with that at all. Piastri on a fresh set of soft tyres versus Norris on a fresh set as well. Goes a tenth quicker than his teammate, 130.454. Hamilton bails out as well. So a number of these drivers, Verstappen and Hamilton so far, bailing out on these used set of softs, which you can, not massively shocking. You want a fresh set now, don't you? 5 minutes, just under 6 minutes to go. There goes Leclerc, 31.056 on a fresh set. So he's 6 tenths off. So both the McLarens on fresh tyres are 6 tenths clear. Piastri 6 tenths, Norris 5 tenths clear of Leclerc, who was also on a new set of softs. So that's not great reading for Ferrari fans. But it depends where everyone else slots in, doesn't it? That might be as close as anyone gets to the McLarens. We'll find out in the next, half an hour? Something like that. So how much would it cost just to get the track audio, do you reckon? No commentator, just the sound of the car, says Lewis. I can ask the question. I could put it to them. I imagine it'll be no, and there'll be no price tag to it, just a flat no. But, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? On that note, please do drop a like. Seamless. Please do drop a like on the stream. We're not even at 100 yet, 900 of you here, so please do drop a like. Really helps the channel in the algorithm, and subscribe as well if you are new. Lots to come this weekend. Thomas will have a short out shortly after the qualifying session later this evening, wrapping up the day's action from Bahrain. He's going to be filming it from the Bahrain paddock. The same again tomorrow, and I'll be live from 3:30 p.m. UK time for the race watch along tomorrow. So there you go. Wobbly rear wing there on the Racing Bulls, nothing to worry about. But what's Hadjar doing? Hadjar's not done a time yet, so I think a lot of cars there, or I say a lot, a handful, gave up on their used tyre lap there and just came in and put some new ones on, which again, I'm not totally surprised about. I think McLaren, can they afford to save a set here and not go again? Or is it not worth the risk? I'm just going to have a quick drink. I'll be back with you in a sec. Hans says you may not be able to play the audio, but how about repeating what they're saying, including mimicking the car sounds? Yeah. That was bad. That was not a Formula One car. 3 minutes and 15 to go. George Russell gearing up for a lap, I think. So still to set a time, just to confirm. You can see it there, but I'll read you through anyway. Hamilton, Verstappen, Hadjar, Ocon, Alonso, and Tsunoda. With under 3 minutes to go now. Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Antonelli, Sainz, Doohan, Russell, Gasly, Hulkenberg, the order of those who have set a lap time. 1.2 seconds separating the top 9. We'll see. We'll see. I can't, Tony, but okay. I'll take your word for that, but I've got the guidelines. I'd, as much as I'd love to, I want to sit here and read pages and pages and pages and pages of what I can and can't do, because it's ridiculous. Like, honestly, I'm not even kidding. It's ridiculous. I think like a lot of it's like 60 seconds this, 2 minutes that, and it's yeah, madness, but understandable. Here goes. We are with Russell. I thought it was Antonelli for a second, but it's not. It's Russell at turn 10. Tricky turn 10. We saw it in testing, a lot of locking. We see it this weekend, actually, a lot of locking up through there, but not quite so much. That fly's dying in a minute, I swear to God. I'll get the fly spray. It's the battle you never knew you needed. Sean versus a fly. Into 13, where we saw those 3 cars side by side in F2 earlier. Bonkers. Improving Russell. Green so far. Antonelli goes up to 3rd place on a 130.7. Russell will need a lap here. Not setting the timing screens alight, but we'll see if it's just a very good lap overall. Goes 4th on a 130.7, just behind his teammate, half a tenth between them. Red Raven says you were talking about being unsure about Haas. One of them is 20th and one crashed out. Yeah. I'm still not sure about it. Tsunoda does move up to 6th place, so okay there at the moment, but we'll see what happens as others improve. Hamilton goes 5th. Tsunoda drops to 7th. Gasly is purple in the middle sector, because why the hell not? Pierre Gasly, this is Hadjar, goes 8th. Pierre Gasly's not in a Red Bull anymore, Sean, of any kind. Hadjar goes 8th. Verstappen 3 tenths down on Piastri, but should be enough to get through. What's Gasly going to do here? I'm not expecting P1, but we'll see what he does over the line. Goes 3rd, a 130.6. Only 2 tenths, less than 2 tenths off the fastest time. Very good stuff from Pierre Gasly there. That's a surprise. Alpine looking pacey on the track. Verstappen only 7th, but he should be through there. Sainz, Doohan, Hulkenberg, Alonso, all improving. Obviously, Alonso's not set a time yet. So I think Tsunoda's in a bit of danger here. So's Isaac Hadjar, which again, he's had a good weekend so far, Hadjar. That'll be a bit of a surprise if he got knocked out. And he's not from Alonso. Alonso is 14th at the moment. Sainz over the line and does improve to 6th. That's a good lap from Carlos Sainz. Jack Doohan is quicker than Hadjar here. Tsunoda now on the bubble. Doohan is improving. Hulkenberg's improving. Alonso is not improving. He's already done his lap. Here goes Nico Hulkenberg. Only 13th. He is staying 13th. So Tsunoda will be watching Doohan here and hoping that he doesn't improve. Doohan does improve, but only to 11th place. And Yuki Tsunoda sneaks through into Q... Oh, it is sneaking through as well. Into Q3. I'll go over the times in a minute. Leclerc improves to 6th. I think that's everybody. We've lost Doohan, Hadjar, Hulkenberg, Alonso, and Ocon. What is that? 200ths of a second less than, I think, between Tsunoda and Doohan. That is very, very tight. In fact, I'm going to try and do this on multi-viewer while we're live because, you know, I like to challenge myself. Yeah. If it works, might work. It does indeed work. Nice one. So the gap between Tsunoda and Doohan is, 17 thousandths of a second. So Tsunoda is through, but like I say, he's only just sneaking through there. So, and I'm sure you'll all say to me, now, doesn't matter how you get there as long as he's there. So there we go. Through he goes. I'm glad for Yuki, actually. Yeah. Do a karate kid on that fly, Sean. No. It will die. Well, one of us will. So if there's a fly sat here tomorrow hosting the stream, you know how that went. But which would be impressive, by the way. Got to say as well, though, Tsunoda, a couple of tenths off Max Verstappen. Verstappen ninth. I mean, that's where Tsunoda needs to be, isn't it? Sort of quarter of a second, maybe 3 tenths. I don't know how you feel about that. You might say he can have a bigger gap, but I mean, 2 tenths off Verstappen, if he can keep doing that, then that's not bad. It is only Q2. There's a whole third session to go yet, but yeah, not bad from Yuki. We've got a lap time under investigation. Track limits, Hulkenberg, 1:31.998. So it's not even the lap time, his fastest lap time. So I've never seen that before. Lap time under investigation. Sorry, that just threw me a little bit. But yes, there we go. Just point to behind Verstappen is not looking good for Red Bull right now. Well, the comment from Bernie Collins, was it last week or the week before, that without Verstappen, Red Bull would be the 10th fastest car on the grid. I think that was harsh on Red Bull. I don't think they'd be the 10th fastest. There are some cars out there that are pretty bad. That said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams ahead of them. Yeah. So it's not a great place to be, is it? So, and if Verstappen's struggling, then yeah, Hulkenberg has lost a lap time there. He drops to 15th. In fact, he's got no lap time at all. So actually, I assume that's because Ocon got a better time in Q1. But Ocon is ahead of Hulkenberg despite crashing. So that's frustrating for Hulkenberg, but not a big deal. I'm sure for him it's 2 places. It all counts that tight midfield, doesn't it? Peter's can I have a shout out from the Philippines. It's 1 a.m. here. You absolutely can. Hey, Peter. Hope you're well. Hopefully the session won't be too much longer so you can go to bed. I'm usually asleep for about 2 a.m. is my aim. So you've got an hour yet, mate. You've got an hour yet. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the company. What's Verstappen struggling with? Question mark. Not struggling is probably the wrong word, but you would not expect Max Verstappen to be just 2 tenths clear of his teammate there, would you? So maybe we'll get some info after the session and then explain what's going on. But you'd expect it to be higher than that. I said before we started this, I'd be surprised if it was as low as he was after FP3. So this is the Mercedes. Yeah. So I don't know what they'll do there with Mercedes. Like that may come under, well not under, but they may get a similar thing to an unsafe release, maybe a fine or something from the team. But it depends how much of an advantage they deem that to be. I guess we'll see whether they face anything post session. Matt says he was losing about grip today. Maybe it's to do with that. A lot have complained, haven't they, about the grip this weekend. Yeah, he has gone deep at turn 1 on his lap, so not a lot of grip there. Fine through 2 and 3 as you'd expect. What's he going to do at 4? Yeah, Karun Chadlock saying there a lot of understeer. Quite wide there, took a while to get going again. I tell you what, it doesn't look very comfortable on board. A lot of corrections on the steering wheel. Missing apexes. It's not a comfortable lap at all here from Max. Nice corner there at turn 10. But no, that car, we're so used up. We're seeing the Red Bull on rails over the last few years, but it looks really awful there. Not awful through 11. Just not able to get much speed through there, though. 12, 13. Yeah, again, no, just seems so slow. I mean, it's not slow; it's ridiculously quick. But it just doesn't look comfortable at all. Same through the final corner, little twitch through there as well. Correction on exit, not comfortable. So that's what Max Verstappen's struggling with. Just not comfortable. A lot of corrections as well. Yeah. Red Raven says, I mean, I'm not ruling Verstappen out of bringing some magic tomorrow, but if they don't, that's looking like row 5 for Red Bull tomorrow. Yeah. Times have reset. We're about to get going for the final 12 minutes of qualifying. I'm going to quickly refresh my stream this side so that I don't end up with a chat that's 10 minutes behind. 1100 here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate the company this afternoon. Please do drop a like on the stream. 120 likes so far. Let's see if we can get it up a little bit more. Helps in the algorithm and all of that, and it's free. And please do subscribe if you are new. Lots to come this weekend. Like I say, Thomas a little bit later with a short from the paddock in Bahrain. I'll be live tomorrow 3:30 p.m. UK time for the race watch on. Thomas will follow with another short from the paddock with an update on what's happening on Sunday, and of course we've got a video out on Monday as well. So there we go. Thank you for your support as always. The RB is a better race car, especially with lots of fuel, says Hans. It's quite funny, isn't it? How, I mean, the Racing Bulls, neither have got through to Q3, but it is so interesting to hear Red Bull talk about how much bigger operating window in that Racing Bulls, and that makes it easier to drive, and that, even to the point where Sky for some reason suggesting that Max Verstappen get in that car in an FP1 session for whatever reason Sky came up with. I think it was something to do with giving them a benchmark at Racing Bulls, and apparently that was suggested a few years ago, and Red Bull shot it down quite quickly. But I'd be up for that, see how he does in a session. But it'd be quite funny if he hopped to that Racing Bulls and stuck it on pole or something like that, and everyone goes, hang on a minute, there's your answer. But no, it'd be quite funny. It'll not happen. Here we go then. Oh, I'm ready for this. Green light. Pit exit is open. We are go for Q3. See who is going to get pole position. What's your final prediction then as we come into Q3? Who's getting pole position? 1.1k of you voting on the poll. Thank you very much. 60% of you gone with a McLaren pole. 18% say Ferrari. 15% say Red Bull. 4% are going with Mercedes. I'm sticking with Piastri because that's my pick from Thursday, but I think Norris is looking good as well. So I think this is between the McLarens, but intriguing to see laps like Gasly putting a lap in to go third, and Sainz kind of top 7. So I would be keeping an eye on that as well, see where they end up. But so we get a bit of a surprise there. Futter's still Lando with Piastri and Antonelli in behind. Gumcutter is saying, I hope that Yuki gets P3 or above. Piastri probably, says Tom Muller. Anushka still hopes alive for Leclerc. Matt says Verstappen going to mince this now. I hope Lando gets it. CPB says Sainz. Sod it. Why not? It'd be quite funny. Earlier I said he needs a good weekend. Then he goes and gets pole. You see. There you go. But Lando on a serious note. And that is cheering for Oscar, of course. If Gasly sits on the front row, something in the room I am sitting on gets destroyed, says Red Raven. It would be quite... I'm not expecting a Gasly pole, but just see where he gets. If he can sneak into that top 5 maybe or something like that, that'd be an amazing result for an Alpine given the tough time they've had with their engines. I'm just going to have another quick drink and then ready for this final shootout. Oh, here we go. It's got quite warm in here, actually, again. PC chugging the air out. Here we go. Yuki Tsunoda then through turn 2. This is a hot lap from Tsunoda, so we're going to see what he can do. Verstappen is the car behind him on track. No, he isn't. Norris is. Verstappen is behind Norris. So let's see if Max can pull out a Max Verstappen classic. Was Tsunoda over track limits there? Was quite close, but might be okay. I only just glanced, so let me know what you think if you saw that a bit after me. And maybe a bit slower than I did. Paid a bit more attention to what I'm going for there. Purple in the first sector, as you'd expect from Tsunoda, because he is the first one out there. However, Tsunoda is 0.4 quicker than Max Verstappen in the first sector. So Verstappen will be wanting to go again, unless, I mean, it could all change in the middle sector, but we'll see. Tsunoda coming through now. Looking nice through there, actually. Looks a bit more comfortable in the car, actually, Yuki, than he was earlier, which is good. 108 overall, 39.4 for him in the middle. What is Verstappen going to do? 39.5. So again, Yuki quicker in the middle sector than Max Verstappen. He couldn't, could he? All that talk earlier. I saw you in chat. You never know. Purple first sector for Russell, by the way. So Tsunoda goes fastest, 1:31.637. First one to do a lap, so not a shock. Verstappen is 0.4 down overall on Tsunoda at the moment. What will that equate to over the line? It is 0.4 of a second, a 32 flat for Max Verstappen. That's a surprise. Apparently a mistake, according to Martin Brundle, at turn 1 from Verstappen. So that could be where that time's gone. But that's a surprise to see. So Max will need to, obviously, go again. And he will do anyway, whether he needed to or not. I'm sure he would have done. But I think they're about to get trumped here quite... I'm not going to say that. Antonelli goes fastest on a 1:31.4. Nearly a tenth and a half quicker than Tsunoda. Here comes... Carlos Sainz on a 1:31.7, splits the Red Bulls. Max's brakes are just terrible. I can't brake at all. So bad. But George Russell, apparently Shaw's new favourite driver. He really isn't. Crosses the line on a 1:30.3. 1.1 seconds quicker than Antonelli. 1.2 than Tsunoda. Gasly goes fourth. 1.6 seconds quicker than Verstappen. That's a cracking lap from George Russell. I suspect, given that Norris has just done a 28.8 in the first sector, that's going to change very quickly. That's a good lap there. And a good lap from Hamilton there. 31.4 into second place ahead of Antonelli. These are the first runs. Used tyres, by the way, for Hamilton, Tsunoda, Gasly, Sainz, Verstappen, Piastri, Norris, and Leclerc. Only Russell and Antonelli on new tyres, which could explain some of that there for George Russell. That gap is way too big for that to be... just on pace, or Mercedes have been lying all weekend. So it is the used tyres for everybody else. Saying that, Leclerc goes second, 1:31.3. Here come the McLarens. First up will be Oscar Piastri with like a 1:12 something probably. A 1:30.2 on used tyres. Wow. Here comes Lando Norris. Only third on a 1:30.3, again on used tyres. So we'll see what they could do on new tyres, but that's potentially quite ominous for the rest of the field. So just a reminder, before we get too excited, Piastri, well, it's easy this way. Russell and Antonelli, the only drivers on new tyres. Everyone else on used tyres. So what did Verstappen do? Mistake at 1, according to George Russell, Martin Brundle, but he had a bit of oversteer, a lot of oversteer actually, at turn 4 as well. So if there was a mistake at turn 1 too, that explains why, potentially, he's 0.4 off his teammate. Yeah. Kept it in track limits, though, which I'm going to give you some praise for there, to be fair to Max. It would have been easy to run that out wide. Lock up there. Antonelli potentially lost 0.3 of a second, according to the AWS graphic. I mean, completely misses the apex, so yeah. Interesting. We'll not get too excited just yet. I don't know what to say, really. It's we've got into that lull now, so I'll read some of your comments and then we'll see what happens. Addy Boy says Max, Yuki out-qualifying Max. Yeah, hold with it. Max made a couple of mistakes on his lap. They're both on used tyres, so we'll see. But I mean, look, still, with respect to Max, Yuki didn't make the mistakes, did he? And got the lap in, so we still have to give him credit for that one. But I'd be surprised if he out-qualifies him by the end of this session. If Max can hook the whole lap up in before Verstappen shocks us all and sticks it on pole again. Matt says the organisation's not good at Red Bull on the used tyres there. Aiden's happy with Russell up there. So is Hans by the look of it. Go Charles, says Cam. Piastri going to win the championship, says Kevin, hopefully. Frank says Adrian Newey is gone, Sean. Yep. I love the raised eyebrow emoji. It says it all, doesn't it? I can't raise an eyebrow anymore. I used to be able to. It was what that fly is dying. I swear to God. If you can't see the fly in the camera, it look like I'm losing my mind. Although you can't lose what you never had, really, can you? So I guess. Hulkenberg dropped to 16th. Yes, there's been that'll be the lap time. So Nico. Ooh, Antonelli's lost his lap time as well. Hamilton has lost his lap time. That's a 1:31.410, so he's going to lose that as well. So he's going to change as well. But yeah, Hulkenberg, for some reason he was under investigation. His 1:31.998 for track limits at turn 11. So it's taken them that long to decide that. Here's the thing, though, right? And I've just spotted it on the timing tower actually. That sucks. Because if that lap time was, because that was at 19:18 local time, that was ages ago. That was Q1. Am I right? That was Q1. So Alex Albon should have got through. So the stewards doing what the stewards do and messing around has potentially cost Alex Albon a shot at a much better grid shot. Or it has cost him a shot at a much better grid slot. So that sucks from the stewards. That's not good enough. Yeah. When was he? Let's have a look. So lap time under investigation, 1:31.998. That was at 17:47. So that was 20 minutes ago, but it was before that his lap time where he went off track. So yeah, that's not good enough from the stewards if that's the case. I'll hold fire. Let me know in chat if that is. But yeah, they've got to make those decisions, as Kevin says, before the end of the session. And I know they've got a lot going on, but if you investigate whether a lap time should be deleted for track limits, you've got to do it quicker than 45 minutes after the last session finished or whatever, the first session finished. That's unfair. That's not good for Albon, but especially with Sainz up in 7th, it suggests to me that Williams has got some good pace in it. So you think Albon will be up there as well. So that's a shame for Williams. There's not a lot you can do. There's nothing the stewards can do. They can't assume Albon would have done a better time than that and put him higher up on the order and let him into Q3. There's nothing they can do in that regard. It's too late now, but Williams will, I'm sure, have a chat about that. Crofty's talking about it, actually. He's just said they've just decided now during Q3, so it's not like they couldn't have done that in the gap even. Yeah, surprising, but there you go. I mean, are we surprised? Are we really surprised the FIA did it? I said surprising, but I immediately corrected myself. No. They have these moments, the FIA. Sometimes they get things right. I'll let you know when. Sometimes they get things right and sometimes they get them wrong, and they got that one wrong. Well, they reached the right conclusion, potentially. I've not seen the replay yet. If it was borderline, then a bit like offside, let it go. But yeah. Anyway, it's about pole position now. Yeah. A minute to go. I'm trying to work out who's where on track, or who's the lead driver on track. I think it's Tsunoda again, isn't it? Yeah, it will be first through the first set. So here we go then. So these times will set the top 10. Currently, just slightly quicker than Piastri is Kimi Antonelli, but of course Piastri yet to do a hot lap on some new tyres. Russell's just done a 28.7 in the first sector, so he is fastest of anybody at any point during this session. So a good first sector there from George Russell. Here comes Antonelli in the middle sector. We'll see what he does on the approach now to turn 11. The timing line. Swear to God. The battle of the fly. The timing line is just here on the exit of 12. There we go. He's at half a tenth up, so it's a good lap this from Antonelli if he can keep it together and keep within track limits. His teammate, though, on a very good lap, as Tsunoda goes 4th on a 1:31.303. That's a new set of tyres and a second slower than McLaren on a set of used tyres. That is... Red Bull need Verstappen to turn up here. Although Verstappen 28.8 in the first sector isn't bad. Antonelli goes fastest on a 1:30.213. The checkered flag is out. This is it. Here we go. George Russell over the line. He goes pole position, provisional pole, 130.009, 2 tenths quicker than his teammate at the moment. Lewis Hamilton moves into 5th place on a 130.772. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Can he out-qualify Lewis Hamilton? He goes second at 130.175. McLaren, a lot of pressure on him here. Norris is not having a great lap. Yellow in the first sector here. Verstappen's about a quarter of a second down. Gasly goes 4th. Verstappen is going to improve here. And he's not on start-finish straight. That's on the back straight. Norris not having a great lap so far. It's purple in the middle sector for Piastri. So here comes Max Verstappen. Over the line he goes. Only 7th. 4 tenths slower than George Russell. That's a surprise. Here comes Lando Norris out of the final corner. He's better in the middle sector. So it's Piastri out the final corner. Norris is better in the middle, but still down overall. Here comes Piastri. Goes provisional pole position on a 129.841. Here comes Lando Norris. Talk about surprises. Only 6th for Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz improving. What's he going to do? Over the line into P8 goes Carlos Sainz out qualifying Lewis Hamilton and Yuki Tsunoda. Oscar Piastri on pole position for the Bahrain Grand Prix tomorrow. A cracking lap from Aussie P there. 129.841. Just over a 10.5 quicker than George Russell in second. Charles Leclerc, another 10.5 further back in third. Only 38 thousandths behind is Antonelli. Pierre Gasly, 3 thousandths of a second off a second row start. What a session from him. Lando Norris down in 6th place, 4 tenths off the fastest time. Verstappen, nearly 6 tenths off the fastest time and a 10.5 behind Lando Norris. A quarter of a second further back is Carlos Sainz in 8th. Lewis Hamilton just under a 10th slower than Sainz in 9th there. And Yuki Tsunoda half a second slower than Hamilton and 1.4 off the pace in 10th place. Positive for Tsunoda. He got through to Q3, so that is a good thing for him, but still a long way off the lead and quite a way off his teammate in the end, although... No, it wasn't it? Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong time. Yeah, no, forget that. Well off his teammate in the end. So, Piastri on pole, and not only on pole, he's got 4 cars between himself and his teammate. And as we know, these days in Formula One, it's a qualifying championship for adversaries. It has the danger of being. There you go. Piastri's won tomorrow. Hopefully we get some more excitement than that, though. But yes, there, and I will say as well, much closer than people were projecting before the session. Mercedes, like I say, just over a 10.5 behind in second place with Russell there. Red Bull, though, were half a second off the fastest time. So Gasly sounds pretty happy, but 3 thousandths of a second. Oh, you'll see that to be gutted, even though he's still 5th place. But great lap from Gasly. I said a top 5, didn't I? So good stuff there from Pierre. Excellent stuff. Oh, well, I'm happy because I got a point on my predictions for the first time in God knows how long. Well, since last week, actually, weirdly enough. But a proper point. One that matters for pole position for Piastri. Can he take the win tomorrow? Long old way to go. Got to get to tomorrow first, but then we've got the race as well. So, yeah, good stuff from Oscar Piastri there. Great stuff. Like I say, 4 cars between himself and his teammate. And those Mercs and that Ferrari won't be easy to pass. In fact, that Alpine has been pretty rapid. Actually, interesting. Pierre Gasly in the speed trap, 261 kilometers an hour. The next closest was Antonelli at 238, apparently. I suspect that's possibly not the fastest speed trap. Let me see if I find the fastest speed trap. That might be the last speed trap. Hang on a second. Let me see. There might be the option. There may not be. Best speed trap speed. There we go. Let's pop that on there. Yeah. So best one overall through the speed trap is actually Charles Leclerc, 327. So sorry there, I was reading the wrong one, but 327 kilometers an hour through there. Gasly 319. So still pretty competitive there. So I just wonder if it was a speed trap thing, but no. There we go. Russell is winning to RSS CPB. We'll do some predictions shortly and see how we go. But yeah, no, an interesting session. Very happy with it. Well, happy with that. Good to see a Ferrari in the top 3. Disappointed with Verstappen down in 7th. But, Can't win them all. Piastri pole, Leclerc third. I'll take that today. So there we go. Yeah. Let's go. Gasly says JC Sauce. What a great lap from Gasly. Like I say, 3,000ths off Antonelli. And actually, to be fair, I know 4/10 is a lot in Formula One, but just shy of 4/10 off the fastest time, which is a McLaren. I think it's a very good lap from Pierre Gasly, to be fair. So good stuff. I'm not even going to read that, Jack. I'll let chat have a go at you for that one. Russell could win tomorrow, says a gambler. 0.9 seconds covering the first 9, says Andrew. Yeah. Less than a second covering the top 9. Good spot. Did Yuki improve? What was his last lap? I will try and find the last lap for you. I'm not actually sure if he improved. I think that was his best lap that's been displayed. I might be wrong. Let me just check. Last lap. It's not telling me, unfortunately. I think that was his a better time there, wasn't it? Because he moved up. He definitely moved up the timing tower. So yeah, no, he did improve, but that is it. That's where he is now, and well off actually. But I've got, again, I'm not defending 10th place, but at least he's in Q3 this week, which is more than he did last week and more than Lawson did in the first 2. So it's progress, is what I'm saying. Piastri 0.4 on Norris, Russell 0.2 on Antonelli, Verstappen 0.9 on Tsunoda, Leclerc 0.6 on Hamilton. Says Red Raven, with Gasly and Sainz teammates literally off the charts. There you go. That's a big gap between Leclerc and Hamilton, isn't it? 6-10. Yeah. No, you're right. I'd like to see Norris's lap again, because his first sector was it went yellow, and I was like, oh, he's struggling out there. But his middle sector was better, personal best. So I'm wondering whether there's been I'd like to see what mistake, if any, has been made in that first sector. Because I'd be surprised if he's 4/10 off his teammate, all things equal. But hey. I try to just. I've got a couple of people in chat who are having a really somebody sort of making some good points, but I don't know how far back they are on the stream. So, because weirdly, when you're live, the chat is live. If you're watching on a delay, the chat is still live. So, it's a bit of a frustrating thing with YouTube that I can't actually do anything about, which is annoying. So, we're going back to old conversations, and I thought that's a good point, but I don't want to go back to the old conversations. So, just know that I'm in the future and I'm reading you. There you go. McLaren missed a trick not trying to maximise points for both drivers and need to roll with Oscar, says Char. Did anyone predict that grid, says Annette. Someone will say they did, but they're lying. I wasn't expecting Mercedes up there. The data was saying coming into this, it'd be McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Racing Bulls. As it turns out, it was McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, Alpine, Red Bull, Williams. So it was nowhere near, was it, in the end? Nowhere near in the end. Han says Russell is not underrated. He's a fine racer. I think George Russell, and maybe I'm in the minority here, but I think George Russell is weirdly one of those drivers who is probably rated perfectly reasonably. I don't think he's really underrated. I don't think he's overrated. I don't think he's been given the credit for the start to the season he's had, particularly those first 2 races. But I don't think Russell's one that's ever been really overrated or underrated. So he's just sort of rated, whelmed. Yeah, he's just sort of rated, isn't he? So I don't. Yeah, that's a weird one with Russell. That. I think Gasly is the most underrated driver, says JC Source. Yeah, coming into today he wasn't he? With that top 5. Gasly sadly will forever be tainted for his time at Red Bull, if you know what I mean by that. Just people always go, yeah, but he had his chance in the top team and look how it went, even though he's grown as a driver. So Kevin says I rate your live streams 10 out of 10. Thank you, Kevin. I got an 8 out of 10 last week, so that's an improvement. I don't know if that was you that gave me that one, but yeah. Fudd says he's not overrated or underrated, he's wombling free. There you go. Good reference, that one. We'll go through the times in just a minute, just before we round up for today. I've got to go off and keep an eye out for Thomas sending me his wrap up from the paddock, which I'm looking forward to, actually, because I might learn something. Who knows? Scary thought. Fred says Piastri is class. The Hatbro says I am whelmed. Yeah. It's papaya. I thought the towers represented flags there, but it's not. The tower's gone papaya for McLaren pole position as they get ready for their photos. Sean is going to run through the order in just a sec. Then I'll take a couple of comments. Then we'll wrap up, and then I'm going to go and get a fly swatter of some sort, because it will die. One of us will. Right. Red Raven disagrees on the gas thing. You'll always have that insane Monza win in his books. Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of people that would say absolutely you're right about his Monza thing, and I don't. You know, I rate Gasly a lot higher than some people do. But I think there'll be a lot of people. I hope not in the paddock, but a lot of people who will sort of look at it and go, well, you know, he stuffed it at Red Bull. So actually, having said that, you know, actually, Red Raven, I'll throw this back at Red Raven and maybe anyone else in chat. Do you think that what's happened since Gasly failed at Red Bull, do you think that not gives him a pass, but do you think that takes some of that criticism away? Because Albon failed. Perez had his ups and downs. I think was the best so far in that second seat since Ricciardo left, but ultimately they let him go. Lawson failed. Tsunoda's still struggling, although he got through to Q3 today. So maybe. Do you know what I mean? And I'll say it again. Failed. In inverted commas. A lot of people argue he didn't. He's still in F1, but you know what I mean. Didn't stick it in that seat. So maybe. I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. Jack wants to see it. We'll put Jack in there next week. It's fine. But I think you have to ask the question as well. If Tsunoda doesn't have a great day tomorrow, do they drop him? Because, you know, that's 2 races. I'm not being serious, by the way, before anyone starts. I'm just saying, you know, they gave Lawson 2 races. Surely that's 2 races for Tsunoda tomorrow. Got to win it, surely. I think even Red Bull are acknowledging there's more to do with it than just drivers right now. So that's good. Red Raven says, of course, and if the audience calling every driver washed was even remotely true, we'd have the cleanest grid ever. That's true. I like that line. I like that. The cleanest grid ever, if it was what? Yeah. No. Ignore a lot of socials. I try to. I'm barely on them now, to be fair. So just here on the YouTubes. Let's go through the order then. So Oscar Piastri is on pole position for the 2025 Bahrain Grand Prix. He took pole by just over a 10.5 from George Russell in second place. Charles Leclerc up there in third on the second row, 0.3 off the fastest time, a 10.5 behind George Russell. Kimi Antonelli in fourth place, 1:30.213 with Pierre Gasly, probably the star of the day. That fly. Fifth place for Alpine, 1:30.216, just under 0.4 off the fastest time, 3,000 behind Antonelli. Lando Norris only 6th on a 1:30.267 with Max Verstappen only 7th on a 1:30.423. That could be interesting tomorrow at the start. Carlos Sainz in 8th place on a 1:30.6. Good lap from him and a good session for him to get through into Q3 and a top 10 start tomorrow. Lewis Hamilton only 9th, 6/10 off his teammate, as Red Raven was saying earlier. 9/10 off the fastest time in 9th place, although 9/10 separate in the top 9 is good to see. Yuki Tsunoda is 10th, 1:31.303, 1.4 seconds off the pace, but again, as I said earlier, it's still a positive step for him because he's got into Q3 and that's an improvement on last week. So maybe he can continue that growth or improvement, sorry, is what I'm trying to say, in Saudi Arabia. Half a second off Hamilton just ahead of him. So not an epic lap, but at least he's in the top 10. Jack Doohan, 11th on a 1:31.245. Isaac Hadjar was 12th, 1:31.271 with Fernando Alonso in 13th, 1:31.886. Esteban Ocon crashed exit a 2 entry of 3. Quite a hefty crash, quite a lot of damage to the car. His session was over. He's 14th at the moment, pending any potential penalties if he has to take any replacement parts or anything like that, although he should be well within his quota, but they might have to break part firmly, I guess, is the point there, so we'll see. 15th, controversially, believe it or not, Alex Albon. Nico Hulkenberg in 16th had a lap time under investigation after Q1, which was deleted midway through Q3, which dropped him down to 16th place, which would have put Alex Albon into Q2 had that come in Q1. So a bit of controversy there, which I'm sure Williams will be chatting to the FIA about. Liam Lawson, 17th, 132.165. Bortoleto, 132.186 in 18th. Stroll, 19th on a 132.283. And Ollie Bearman, 132.373. That is your order. Piastri pole, Russell second, Leclerc third. Any comments in chat? I'll read a few before we go, and then we'll do a few predictions super quickly before everyone goes. See you later, Annette. Hope you have a good kip ready for tomorrow. You're happy. That's all that matters. Maybe Piastri tomorrow could take that win and really kick on. I mean, what was it Sky was saying yesterday? That incident at turn where they went off in Australia. Had he, obviously, you know, if my grandmother had wheels, etc., but if he hadn't have had that spin at the penultimate corner and was in the mix for the win, we could have been in a situation where Piastri could have won the opening 3 races if he'd been let go in Suzuka as well. So, you know, as it turns out, he hasn't. And, you know, again, if my grandmother had wheels and all that business, but, you know, he's had a very strong start to the season, Piastri. It's a shame about what happened in Australia and what was happening in Japan. I'm not saying he would have passed Verstappen because I'm not convinced. I just don't think passing was an easy thing to do in Suzuka at all. So, but you never know and all that. But yeah, great start to the season, all things considered, I think, for Piastri. So a win today. I'm here for Piastri dominance. That's what I'm saying. There we go. Shame on the FA for not getting back to that Hulkenberg lap. I agree, Charles. That needs to be improved upon. I know it's difficult when things are borderline, but you know, you need to make a call before then. Only 40 minutes until Miami Prix 2, says Fud. I didn't know it was Formula E this weekend. I don't feel like I really hear a lot about Formula E these days, which I don't know if that's them and their promotion not doing very well or whether it's just a bit dull. I don't know. I've not watched for ages. So Corn says Piastri domination is getting boring. Antonelli is doing such a solid job, says Kunal. Yeah, I think for a first season, 18 years old, big shoes to fill as well at Mercedes. I don't think he's been bad, but we'll let him grow. Let's not put the pressure on him. I know you're not, but let's not put the pressure on him. On to tomorrow. No heroics is turn 1, please, or plenty of heroics if it makes things more entertaining, says Rev Raven. Yes, agree. Let's not do that, Jack. Definitely not. That didn't go well. I love that you interact with us all and answer all our questions while staying on topic. A lot of credit to you, bro. Thank you very much, JC Source. I appreciate that. I try to do both, but sometimes don't succeed. But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for popping along. Back tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. UK time for the... It's a race on a Sunday, isn't it? The race watch-along. Shouldn't have to think about that, but we got there in the end. Albon couldn't improve from where he was, potentially Q3 too. Yeah, I touched on that earlier, Charles. The fact that Sainz is up there in 8th place, given the problems he had with the car this season, or the struggles getting up to speed in that car, you'd like to think that Albon would have been in the mix as well for Q3. So again, there's not a lot that the FIA can do now. It's all happened. So I just like to think James Vowles will go and have a chat with somebody there and just say, you know, you've got to be quicker at that. Just to make sure they've seen it, make sure they know. I think that's good. George and Charles are going to take each other out, says Kevin. No. Yuki follows team order to get the toe for Norris, says is it Vi or why? Not sure what's gone on there. I might have missed something on there, but yeah, penalty for the FIA. Yeah, we'll go 5-second time penalty for the FIA. Actually, can have 10. Why not? What are your predictions for tomorrow then? Give me top 3 in chat. I'll read them out and do some shout outs as I go. If I butcher names, I apologise. Top 3. What did I go with on Thursday? I went Piastri win, didn't I? Verstappen second, Norris third. I'll stick with the Piastri win because I think unless he loses out to Russell off the line, he should have that under control based on McLaren's race pace this weekend and this season. And with Norris being 4 cars further back, I think Piastri can get this one. It's a bit boring because that is the top 2 on the grid, but I'll say Russell P2 and then Norris comes through to 3rd place. I'd be surprised if Norris spends too long behind Gasly. Might struggle a bit with Antonelli and Leclerc, but I think he'll probably still end up on the podium. So Piastri, Russell, and Norris. So I'll swap out Verstappen for Russell, is what I'll do there. So yeah, that's my top 3. But honestly, just hoping for a good race. Easier to overtake in Bahrain. Not easy, but easier. So we should see some action. But I also hope it's not all just halfway down the start, finish straight DRS overtakes, because that's not the same as a proper overtake. So there we go. Let's see. So chat keeps jumping. So if I miss anybody, I apologise. Doohan and Hadjar both quicker than the Tsunoda Q3 time, says Craig. Hang on a second. Yeah, you're right. Good spot. Good spot, Craig. Yeah, so Tsunoda's fastest Q3 time was a 1:31.303. Theoretical best was a 31.1, but it was a 31.303. Doohan did a 31.245 and Hadjar a 2.71. So yeah, you're right. Good spot. Yeah, good spot, Craig. Red Raven says Gasly, Hamilton, Antonelli, and the Alpines burst into flame like Maldonado's Williams did in 2012. Yeah, hide all the evidence. Hide all the evidence. Pascal says Russell, Piastri, Antonelli, and Hulkenberg. Remember those conspiracy theories? Oh, it's Sir Frank's birthday and the garage catches fire. That's convenient. John says Piastri, Norris, and Leclerc. Leclerc, Russell, and Piastri for Fud. The Hatbrus says clean air is king. We've seen that already this season quite a lot, haven't we, Hatbrus? So you're probably right there. Norris follows Yuki to get a tail, but Yuki saves the car by team orders. Oh, okay. Okay, I've not seen that one, so I'll go back and watch that one, and we can discuss that tomorrow, mate. Thank you for heads up on that one. Tsunoda wins a wet race tomorrow, says Moray. A wet race in Bahrain. Good point, actually. They are under investigation, Mercedes, don't forget. So that might change predictions a bit. Kunal says Antonelli, Verstappen, and Piastri. Cafe88 Racer says Piastri, Russell, and Norris. I don't know what's going on with the chat. It might not be doing it for you, but it is for me. His story says Oscar, Leclerc, and Lando top 3. I'd like to see Pierre sneak in there for third, says Kevin. I think a lot of people would like them to sneak into third place, wouldn't they, in the end? So it seems to be catching up now, weirdly. Piastri, Leclerc, and Antonelli, says Kevin. Yes, quali's over team. Piastri fastest, Russell second, and Leclerc in third. Russell is about a bit overhated, but is rated about right, says Murray. So Murray's a little bit maybe a bit further behind. I don't know. If it's a two-stop race, Norris can get back onto the podium, says Warren. It should be a two-stop race, but I said that for Japan and it wasn't. I was actually getting a few bits ready for next week's preview, weirdly, this afternoon. And last year's Saudi Grand Prix was such a dull one-stopper. Pretty much everyone pitted on lap 7 under a safety car, and that was it. So hopefully we don't get that tomorrow in Bahrain. But yeah, no, it should be a two-stopper. You can make a one-stop work. We saw that last year, but it's a bit tougher to do here than it was in Suzuka. So I'd like to see two stops, but we'll see. I think that was all the top 3 predictions. Craig says Piastri, then the rest. Leclerc, Russell, and Piastri says Ford. I don't know if I read that one. I've read it again just in case I missed it. And yeah, Toto looks happy, says Kevin. So Toto is saying he hopes that the drivers aren't penalised for it. He would expect a team penalty by the sounds of it. So that's what I would think as well. Why is Aston such a tractor? They have Newey now, right? Says Kunal. They do, but Newey didn't start work until... Was it March? Start of March. And he's predominantly been bought in for the 2026 car. So he may be drafted in to try and help them this season, but his focus will be largely on next year. So there was never going to be an immediate Newey impact, unfortunately, at Aston Martin. So yeah, we'll see what happens next season for them. Osborne says that Hamilton has lost the one-lap pace. It's been like that since last year against George too. He's on pace or the ballpark until the final Q3 run, and then he's just can't improve. Sorry, I've got the chats jumping all over the place. I'm trying to read it as well. So yeah, any news on Max? I've not heard anything yet. I've not even seen his interview yet, so we'll give it a few more minutes before we end, but we'll see if he says anything. But it might be a little while before he gets to the pen, and I've got nothing on the old emails either. So I'll just check and see if there's anything in the group chat actually. Nothing in the group. No, nothing in the group chat about Verstappen at the moment. So, yeah, we'll see. See if anything goes through before we end it. But yeah, nothing at the moment. Oh, Toto recall, says Tony. Yeah. I've got nothing else to say. I'll just wait for your comments to come in, and then if not, we'll wrap up the stream. We're just gonna see if Max turns up with anything. He sometimes doesn't depend, doesn't he? But nothing at the moment. So, hoping for a good race tomorrow, I guess, is what my takeaway is. Ready for tomorrow. Hoping for a good race. A lot of people have been trying to convince me that Japan was a good race, but my comeback to that is the same. I've seen worse, but it wasn't a good race at all. I've certainly seen worse though. So, and it was nice to see it close to the front. I said it in that short that I did 9 in the clip from the stream. At least it was close to the front, so it kept you engaged. But hoping for a good race tomorrow, and I think it should be. I think that grid is mixed up enough to give us some entertainment. You know, you've got arguably Alex Albon out of position to come through as well a little bit. Hadjar, you could argue as well after his pace earlier in the weekend, but you know, Sainz is up there. You've got to say he's not out of position, because that's the wrong phrase, I guess, because he's there, but you wouldn't expect him to be there, so you think Norris, Verstappen would come through. Yeah, it's mixed up enough to make it interesting tomorrow, and I hope we don't end up with just a massive DRS train, hopefully. I'm not doing the accent, Craig, but yeah, get it to the chopper, absolutely. Another thing I've realised, says Motorsport F1 Boy, says another thing I've realised is that Mercedes seem to fix their warm temperatures performance, because last year they struggled in hot temps. Yeah, it's muggy out there. 26.6 degrees, way above what Sean likes. 30.6 on track, so maybe that is something they've tackled this year. So potentially good spot there as well. So, and the wind wasn't too bad actually today, was it, in the end? So, yeah, no, that's fair. I'm trying to think of other teams that might struggle with heat last year that have maybe got it right this year. But yeah, it's sort of a little bit amusing to me that Mercedes are just getting on top of these regulations now. And it's the final year of them. But next year, it sounds like they could be the team to beat. Very early days. We don't even know what we're going to do next year yet. But the rumours are, the talk is they've done what they did in 2014 and absolutely smashed it with the engine. So back to Mercedes domination, I guess. It's what we do. It happens. I think we're going to leave it there. We are going to leave it there for today. So, just a quick recap. Piastri on pole, Russell second, Leclerc third, Antonelli fourth, Gasly in fifth. That's your top five. Norris only sixth, Verstappen seventh, Sainz eighth, Hamilton ninth, Tsunoda 10th. And then you've got Doohan, Hadjar, Alonso, Ocon, Albon, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Bortoleto, Stroll, and Ollie Bearman down the bottom there in 20th place after a bit of a disappointing day for Ollie Bearman. But yes, what was I going to say? Yeah, Thomas will be with you in a few hours' time with a short just from the Bahrain paddock, wrapping up the day's action. I'll be live tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. BST, UK time, obviously, for the race watch-along. Then shortly after that, we'll have another short from Thomas, who'll wrap up the Sunday in Bahrain from the paddock. And then we'll have a video out on Monday, and then Sam's got a couple of shorts to kick off the week as well. I'm back on Thursday with the preview, and then of course we go again for watch along. So lots of stuff to come over the next week or so. So please do drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you are new as well. Thank you once again for joining me today. Always great to have you company on these Saturdays and Sundays during a race day. Just be talking to myself anyway, so I'll just look slightly less crazy, which is only slightly less. But yeah. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.